What up, people? Push a Wild Black here, and this will be a special vlog, special PWB vlog with my homie and frequent contributor to this, Anthony Joslin, and I will interview him at a later date. But he had some thoughts about the Colin Kaepernick situation and probably other things because that's how we do. So this will be a platform, meaning this will be a pushing while black situation, as well as your the pushcast is what we do, is what me and him do together. So I'm gonna share this on my channel, and then once his channel gets up and running, he'll this will be one of his premiere things. So what's going on, Anthony?
Hey man, not much here, man. I just wanted to speak real quickly because I don't understand what the big deal is about Colin Kaepernick's protest.
Right.
You have the right to not stand for anything.
Right.
And I've been in a lot of situations where people have looked over at me. I'm sitting in a regular seat at a sporting event, and they go, "Aren't you gonna get up for the national anthem?" And I look back and I say, I would if I could, motherfucker, but I can't. Oh, I'm sorry. And people get upset by it, but at this point in time, and even before all the police brutality, even before all the racist actions came out,
Mm-hmm.
he still had the right not to stand for the national anthem, not to stand for he still had that right as an American.
Right.
The tenets of the reason why we left England was to have our rights to free expression.
Right.
Against the government. And Christian's gonna bring up another angle later. But all I'm saying is he has that right. And the fact that it's such a pronounced backlash shows you race relations in America.
I just want to mention a couple.
Let me complete my point real quick.
I'm sorry.
There's some history to this, and if you know Colin Kaepernick's background, you'll be able to understand why I say it's a little bit more to it than what you think. Colin Kaepernick was he was birthed by a white lady that dated a black dude. The black dude, something happened to him where the relation broke up, and she was pregnant, and she basically gave the baby up for adoption to the Kaepernicks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Colin Kaepernick, at the point that I last heard, which was 2 years ago, hadn't had any contact with his birth mother. But he considers the Kaepernicks his real parents.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and to my knowledge, I'm not sure it is. He hasn't made contact with his birth father either.
Mm-hmm.
But they were marketing it as this white family. This white family, basically takes this orphan kid in. And to be honest, at this time they were talking about him basically kissing his tattoos and the tattoos that he had on his body, and they were saying that he was real urban. And urban is a synonym for basically ghetto.
Yes.
Okay. Now, with all that being said, it's skin doesn't mean you're mixed or anything of that nature. You know, I have a brother that his father, in his line was mixed with white people, but for generations, they've all been light-skinned people.
Right.
So my brother looks exactly like his dad, but my brother considers himself a black man.
Mm-hmm.
And on certain days, he looks real old fake. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And old fake is the term for it. He looks like could be a white guy.
Yeah, we call that up north passing.
Yeah, he could pass. And uncles on my brother's side of the family, on my brother's dad's side of the family, some of them do try to pass, but my brother is not that way.
Mm-hmm.
But there's an unwritten. You can tell in the tone of people discussing this issue. They feel like Colin Kaepernick needs to be obligated to respect the American flag. And they put it on soldiers, they put it on, put it on all these other issues that if you look at his original statement, he said, I have no problems against the soldiers. He said, my issue is not with the soldiers. My issue is with the brutality and the disrespect and the mistreatment of minorities in America. And, one of the ESPN analysts, Sarah Spain, brought up an interesting point. Don't make it be about the flag because you don't want to talk about the issues that he clearly stated is the reason why he's doing it.
And I just want to add something. His last point, because he's been really stand up as far as he's been a stand up dude as far as answering questions. And when he did that little mini press conference, it was almost like in the locker room. His last point was very poignant to me. He said, "You can be a police officer in 6 months, but it takes more training to be a cosmopolitist than
Exactly.
to be a police officer."
Right.
You know what I'm
And
saying? So
that is, that is total and utter bullshit.
I agree.
Now, let me just say this. I have two cousins that are in law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
I also have relatives that basically baited, law enforcement in my hometown into a shootout.
Mm-hmm.
And he was eventually killed. That was 3 years ago. Rest in peace, my cousin RJ. He was a good kid, but he was bipolar.
Mm-hmm.
Why is there not training for individuals to look at medical records?
Bro, my one of my Facebook friends, Leroy Moore, and I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him on when I get everything situated. I'm gonna get him on the vlog, man, and we're gonna have a conversation. Him and Keith Jones, they talk about this all the time. Where I've been educated, man. Where the police brutality is in the disabled community and bipolar counts under the Americans with Disabilities Act. When it comes to
Right.
like mental illness and mental,
And to be honest,
mm-hmm.
I know, I was going to do something to chronicle
Mm-hmm.
my cousin RJ's last few days, and I haven't decided on how I'm gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
But okay. Now let me tell you things that I do know
Right.
about my hometown.
Mm-hmm.
The police, They do follow you,
Yeah.
waiting for you to make a mistake. And his girlfriend basically got word to some of the family members. Well, it felt like he had been harassed for like a solid 2 weeks by the police.
Right.
And where they live, my my cousin, which was his grandmother,
Mm-hmm.
they live in a farm on the outskirts of town. And where the farm is, it's a long, but it's a long drive, but it's a straight shot. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand exactly what you're saying.
Okay, it's a long straight shot where you might be driving for 30 minutes, but in that time, police can zoom, we call it blooping. They can bloop you, which is meaning pull up right behind you and tailgate you, and then pull off, and then how the highway is set up, they can turn around, they can bloop you, go past you, and then come back. And not to mention, they could have radios,
Right.
where they call other policemen to do the same thing to you.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're bipolar and you go through manic situations, as my cousin did, all this is just gonna build and build and build.
Right.
So apparently his last hours, he came home from the farm, because where he stayed in the city, because the farm where I was saying he would normally go is his grandmother and grandfather's farm, but he would go out there to see his grandparents every day.
Mm-hmm.
So he's being harassed. He comes home, and his girlfriend stated that he was mad. He was just beside himself. They keep fucking with me, babe. They keep fucking with me, babe. They keep fucking with me.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically says, "This is it."
Mm-hmm.
Gets it done. Calls the police. Hides in the bushes. When they get there, he rises up out of the bushes, dumping.
Wow.
Now, all I can say, and I remember getting the calls from both the law enforcement in my family,
Mm-hmm.
and my actual relatives that were close to RJ.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, man, you telling me that something couldn't have been done? You telling me that something couldn't have been done to avoid, this situation? And to be honest, I know that a lot of people say, well, he brought it on himself. But I can speak to this part of it. Sometimes it just wears you down dealing with people that have all the power, and then they can do whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
So, from that instance, that's just a little experience that I personally know about, and I'm sure you know people, Christian, in your path, in your walk of life, in your universe, that have been harassed and mistreated by the police. And I'm not saying that's a excuse enough to do whatever you do.
Well, I mean, the reason why my channel is that the way it is my channel is because they follow you in Carrollton.
Right.
Like, the Sandra Bland thing the Sandra Bland thing happened to me. That happened to me. Like
Right.
I was pushing to work. I then I've told this story ad nauseum, so y'all gonna hear it again. I got off the bus. I was pushing to work, and where I worked in a collections agency. So in Carrollton, where like in Technology Boulevard in Carrollton, you gotta go like you get off, and there's a church, and there's a 2 block push from where the bus stop is to where my job is, and it's uphill. So I'm on a Friday. It's hot. I'm wearing a backwards hat, and this is when the George Zimmerman thing happened. I think Mike Brown just happened, or it was about to happen. So I'm really not sure like the time frame. I remember though I was pushing to work, and I see a cop I see a cop go past driving like a SUV, driving a Blazer. And basically, if you know what happened with the Sandra Bland situation, she's driving. The cop on the other end sees her. The cop busts a Yui and follows her for like a mile. You know,
Right.
and on his dad's cam video, they show that happen. They show him see the girl, and he busts a Yui and he follows her till she pulls over. Same thing happened to me. Guy sees me, guy sees me, guy busts a Yui, guy busts a Yui. I notice him pass me, but I don't notice him pull me over. I just notice like I can, because he didn't put his sirens on, but he put his lights on me. And on the corner of my eye, I see the lights, and I turn back, and I turn back, and I stop, and I'm like, oh, this dude is gonna pull me over. I was like, really? I'm, for all intents and purposes, even though I wasn't walking, I'm walking here, right?
Right.
So I'm like, let me stop. He gets out of his car, and the exact words were, um, where are you going? I haven't seen you around here before. Where are you going? Like,
And hold on, can I interject something?
mm-hmm.
It should have been, hey man, do you need a ride? Can I help you get to where you're going? Because really, a lot of things can happen when you're pushing a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
He's a public servant.
Right.
Go ahead.
So, and I remember when I first told you the story, you were like, wait a minute, that wasn't a welfare check. I was like, nah, he was pulling me over. So he walks up to me, and he asked me all these questions, and he asked me, where are you going? And I was like, I'm going to work. I work over in that call center, CMI. I like my bus stop is down there, because I had already pushed halfway to my job, so you couldn't see where the sign was, where the bus stop sign was. So I explained to him where I was. I showed him my paratransit ID, because at the time I don't think I had my ID on me, but I showed him like my paratransit ID, and I showed him my little, the little those little things you get to like get in the door. So I showed him that, and then he was like, "Oh, okay." And then he looked at me like he didn't search me, but he looked me up and down, and he looked at my chair. He looked at my chair, he looked at my bag, but he didn't search my person, but he searched me kind of. And then he was like, "Oh, your bag's dragging," and then he got in his car and left. He,
Right.
he got in his truck and left. Now, I normally when this happens, because I got into it with one of my rugby teammates about this. Normally when this happens, they don't see me when I'm disabled. Like I'll be riding with my friends, and it'll be 3 dudes in a car. It'll be 3 black guys in a car, and a cop will stop us and try to make us get out the car. And the fact that I've had cerebral palsy has saved us from getting searched, and saved us from getting it saved one of my friends from getting shot, because the lady pulled out her revolver on my friend, because she wanted us to get out the car. He didn't understand that he was following orders. So my walker's in the trunk. So he goes to the car, and because she wanted us out, right? So
Yeah.
like she pulls the gun because she's thinking like there's a shotgun back there. right?
Mm.
So I had to jump out the car halfway, and I had to say, "Hey, I'm disabled. He's getting my walker out there since you want us out the car." And then she was like, "Get in the car. You get in the car. Don't ever go back in the trunk on a police officer." And then like, and I was going home. There was a security guard in my apartment complex. And then after that, when she saw me, it was always like it was always pleasantries. Yeah, but like normally when that happens, I'm just they normally don't know that I'm disabled. They just see two or three black guys in a car. Let's see what they're doing because once two or more black people are in a space, bad things are happening. But when you say that to white people, they're like, well, and then like I think in the dialogue that I was having about this a month or so ago, he was bringing up reverse racism, and it's like, okay, reverse racism happens, but this happens all the time. So when you have to literally tell the police officer, because I had to tell the Carrollton police officer, hey man, could you do me a favor? Could you tell the rest of the people that patrol this area that this is going to be my job now and I have to do this every day so you guys don't stop me every day. And oh, by the way, Chris Rock has had to do that at his house.
Right.
So the
But by
fact
that
that
time, by the time you stop him twice, you know who it is. Why are you stopping it?
yeah, so like you literally, and then how the channel came is I was joking because normally when this happens, I'm in a vehicle and no one knows I'm disabled. That was the first time something like that happened. That's the first time I've been profiled by the police in my wheelchair. And I
Okay.
jokingly said, "Okay, so in Carrollton, pushing while black is a crime."
Right.
And there was all this outrage. There was all from my friends, my brother in Kingsley, our mutual friend. They were saying I wouldn't have told him anything. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, okay, look,
I would tell them things because that could be the thing you telling them is something that could save your life. A
exactly.
lot of that be rah rah, and you know it kills me about this one thing, bro.
Hmm.
I'm an active person, but I'm also smart.
Well, in my head, I wasn't thinking about dying. It was the situation of
Yeah.
the situation of that stop was it was the last day of training. I couldn't miss training, and my thought of if I pop, they putting cats in jail. Okay.
Bro, I'm not even worried about jail.
Mm-hmm.
I'm worried about, in the process of just dealing with this person.
Right.
You don't know whether they wake up and they like, man, I'm gonna fuck with somebody black today.
Right.
Because how many times have you seen a white person? Now keep in mind, I'm gonna say this for the record. I got white people that I love like family.
Mm-hmm.
And you will hear about them getting stopped. But I have seen far more black people get stopped, like seen it,
Mm-hmm.
than I've ever seen white people get stopped.
I've seen why people get stopped because, and I guarantee you, once this pops up, man, because when I mentioned my situation, like people say, I've got stopped too, and da 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 da, and it's like, okay, yeah, but it happens. You know what I'm saying? Or I've been racial profiled because of where I live. I live in certain areas. I live in certain areas that white people are quote unquote so not supposed to be in, and I've been profiled, and it's like, well, and I'm like, well, okay, why are you profile? That's I understand that, but I don't know a black person that hasn't gotten stopped before. My mama's gotten stopped pulling. My mama got stopped pulling out of work because she had a nice car, and they had three, bro. They had three squad cars surround my mom.
But okay. Let me give you a recent example.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I'm home for a family, a death in the family,
Mm-hmm.
and my brother and my niece get into our altercation. Do you know within 45 seconds they have every arterial route
Blocked
blocked
off. Right.
for one black man?
Right. Right.
And the only thing that stopped them from rushing the car trying to pull my brother out was the fact that I was between the door and my brother.
Wow. And and
And my brother told the policeman, he said, man, he said, if you coming for me and you do something to my brother, he said, it's going to be a problem.
wow.
He said,
I
I'm not
I,
saying
I
it's
just I just I'm not saying traffic stops don't happen to white people.
right. We're not saying that at all.
And
But
statistically,
it's too pronounced. And see, I'm going to give you another example. Another example real quick.
mm-hmm.
Okay, and I feel bad for light-skinned or mixed black people in this regard.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen instances where mixed black people
Mm-hmm.
have to self-identify. Who do you identify with?
They got to pick a side.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And nowhere in America do you have to do that. You don't have to say what you are. You're just a person.
Right.
Or even with me and you, Christian,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a brown skinned dude, you're more of a caramel.
Yeah, I failed the paper bag test.
Right.
And if you don't know what the paper bag test is, look that up.
Okay. So, and by the way, the caramel part will be another podcast.
There it is.
But anyway, but we don't have to self-identify. They already assume that we identify as black people.
Right.
That's the thing that hurts me. Because why can't they just be, what Blake Griffin had to do it. Tiger Woods had to do it. It's like that old Chappelle Show skit.
Mm-hmm.
What race are you drafted by?
Yeah, although that skit was pretty funny.
Hey, I might put that skit up in conjunction with my podcast, because it's kind of how it is. And at the end of the day, I'm going to say this for the record, and you can take whatever snippet of what we've already said or what we're about to say.
Mm-hmm.
Christian, you're my witness. I love America. I don't want to live anywhere else. But I want rights where I live. I want the same opportunities. Because I'm going to tell you the truth. I got some friends that are as bright as Bill Gates.
Mm-hmm.
But for whatever factors, they don't get opportunity.
And when we talk, and let me just say this, because you mentioned your cousin. That was your cousin, right? The
RJ?
RJ, yeah. You mentioned your cousin and him having bipolar, and the situations with that. Police brutality, and I'm no expert on this. There are people that are a lot more intelligent and a lot more informed about this than I am. I am just now learning this. I'm just now getting abreast to what's going on when it comes to like police brutality and people with disabilities. Okay? If you have autism, you're in trouble. If you have bipolar, you're in trouble. Corinne, what was the chick's name? Corinne Gaines?
Corinne Stephens.
No, not Steffens. The
No,
girl.
that's Superhead. I'm sorry.
Sorry, people. No, Gaines. The chick that she was that got
In
pulled.
Baltimore. In Baltimore.
Yeah, the light skinned chick in Baltimore. Okay, they came in her house and shot her. Now there are two dynamics that I want to explore here. There's one being a sovereign citizen where they don't subscribe to like the laws of the land, and I don't really want to get into that real quick. I don't really want to get into that
Man, I gotta do my research, bro.
on that one. But there's also an idea of she had lead poisoning, right? Why, if she had lead poisoning and they knew she had it, they knew she had it. It was in her. They knew she had it. They knew she was kind of they in dealings with her before. They knew she had some issues. Like, why are you no two dynamics on that? If you knew she had some type of issue, why is it not? Why are you not taking more?
Why you call in trained medical staff to kind of be like
They
immediate?
and they had a psychiatrist on staff, bro. They talked to one before they went to her house.
Wow.
Like, bro, they talked to one while they went to her house. Why are you going? It's one girl and two kids, two
Hey,
babies.
bro.
Her son is like 5. What are you doing?
Hey, bro. I got another little interesting point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm learning so much in relation to oppressed peoples and oppressors.
Mm-hmm.
Reading a lot of books, about oppression and whatnot. The oppressed are always characterized as, oh, they're loud, they're disruptive, they're this, they're this, they're that, they're this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always negative.
Right.
And the reason why I started studying it is because dealing with my family, let me just say this. There's an age gap between my oldest brother and myself. So all my other brothers and sisters, they grew up together. But I came along at the end.
Right.
You know, the closest person to me is 4 years older than me.
Right.
And then but my oldest brother is 17 years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
So, I just started studying it. And that narrative, okay, you're my little brother, you're supposed to be quiet and you're supposed to respect me. That's one part of it, but another part of it is we can oppress you and you're not supposed to say nothing about it.
And then can I and this is going way deeper than what we initially, but this is how we do things when we have conversations. When me and Ann have conversations. The fact that you're the baby of the family and the fact that I'm going to just say this and take it for what it is. We're not, as black people, and because both of us have disabilities, both of us have cerebral palsy, we are not supposed to show anger. Disabled people are not supposed to show anger.
Right.
Black people are not supposed to show anger. The oppressed are not supposed to show anger or emotion at all. And if you show anger and if you show emotion, the oppressors, whether it's white people, whether it's able-bodied people, whatever it is, they frown on you when you show anger, or they frown on you when you show any type of any type of autonomy about your life.
Right.
When you put your foot down about anything, there's we're seeing this with Colin now. You know what I'm saying? Like the blowback, because bro, there are people, I know people that joined this, and quiet is kept, bro. After 9/11, and this is something that I thought about. After 9/11, when the towers fell, I was amped up, and I was like, I'm gonna go and I want to serve, knowing that I would never pass a physical. I was gonna do, but but in the World Trade Center, a lot of disabled people died in the World Trade Center because there was a government agency in the building, and they couldn't get anybody out, and all of them died. And and I only know about this because I sat and I watched the story on Dateline about the people in the buildings, and that made me mad. That made me really really mad. You know what I'm saying? But I felt there are people, and there were a lot of people after 9/11. They were like, "We're gonna join because we're gonna go get the dudes that did this." You know what I'm saying? There was a pride there. When Pearl Harbor happened, we're gonna join because they went on our soil and they went on our soil and they bombed us. We gonna join because we gonna tell the rest of the world you can't mess with us. And then there are people that join the army or join the navy of all races or join the armed forces of all races. But black veterans have wrote about this. They joined because they didn't have a choice. Not because they were drafted, but they joined because they didn't have a choice. They joined because they didn't have any money. They joined because they wanted to go to school. They joined because they wanted to take advantage of the GI Bill. There was nothing patriotic about the reason that they joined the army. Nothing at all. So you join because you have to. So you have these white patriots jumping on Facebook and jumping on YouTube and saying stuff about the reasons that they joined, and you're disrespecting the soldiers when the Star Spangled Banner originally was not that was not our national anthem. That was a battle cry. They said that in battle. That was a dude. And honestly, the Star Spangled Banner is built with three verses. The last two verses are about hunting slaves.
Wow.
The last two verses are about hunting slaves. I will post the root article on that. I will link you to, because right now, like I can't right now I can't go into my computer right now, and at some point when we start doing this, I'll be able to. But these articles have been written about how the Star Spangled Banner, our national anthem, the last two the last two verses that we don't sing is about slaves. Is about hunting slaves. And the person that wrote the Star Spangled Banner,
Our national anthem was really marketed for a certain reason, correct?
yeah, I mean, it was written by a guy that was like that detested black people. You know what I'm saying? So you have black veterans that are writing about Colin Kaepernick and saying that look, he can do whatever he wants to do. You know what I'm saying? I went to the army. I went to the army because I didn't have a choice. And a lot of us went to the army because we didn't have a choice. And you come home, and if you talk to an older veteran, you find out how you find out stories about how, like in the Navy, they would like perfect example in the Navy, and I think I told you this yesterday, and we talked about it. In the Navy, they would throw black men off ships, and if you swam, you swam. If you didn't, you didn't. They would put all the black men first in the line of fire first in the army. In the infantry, that happened back in the day. You would be there were people that would stay military, dude. They wouldn't even go home because like if they went home during segregation, man, it didn't matter. You fought for this country, but you still gotta eat in colored, like you still gotta eat at the back of the restaurant. So to act like this country, and I'm not saying you shouldn't be proud if you were an African American and you served your country, but what I'm bringing to light here is to act like this country wasn't the foundations of this country wasn't built on nonsense is ludicrous. And when I listen to Tommy Lauren or whatever her last name is, and I listen to certain veterans go like because there's a couple veterans that got Facebook followings or whatever. When I listen to them talk about the disrespect of what one, it's a protest. It's not supposed to make you comfortable. Protests are not. When did we get to the idea that protests are to make you comfortable? They're this warm and fuzzy thing. It's a protest. It's not supposed to make you comfortable. Now, I don't necessarily know what that the protest is going to do in the long run, but
Yeah,
it's his right to do it.
that he's gonna roll out where he's, talking about social change and stuff of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, God, he said, I've been stopped in college when I was moving into where I was staying in college. They basically stopped him and his friend, and thought that they were robbing the house that they were moving into.
Wow.
So it's a lot more to it
I,
than
I
what.
I just it's a protest, and that's the best way he knows how to protest is to sit during our national anthem.
Right. But what
Okay.
I'm saying is, what my overall point is, if America was right, they wouldn't persecute him for that. He's close to losing his job. Now, at worst, if he had never did the protest, he would be the #2 starting the season. They're talking about cutting him.
Yeah, because they don't want him to be a distraction.
Well,
I mean, I don't.
let's break it down to what it is. I'm going to break it down to what it truly is.
Okay,
Are you ready?
go ahead.
They know that NFL is not guaranteed contracts.
Yeah.
They know that they can cut you at any time, almost for any reason.
Mm-hmm.
There has been a movement over the last 10 years to take a lot of the money out of sports. Unless you have financial savvy, like LeBron James,
Mm-hmm.
or Kobe Bryant, which
Oh, by the way, watch there be another lockout season. Watch what I tell you.
right, because they want to take all the money out of the sports. And I'm not saying they taking all the millions out, but the contracts progressively over the last 10 years have went down.
I'm gonna add something to what you said. They're not only gonna try to take the money out of sports. Not really. But with the NBA, and I know we're getting off topic a little bit, but with the NBA, they want to take the power out too.
Right,
Because everybody's mad about KD going to Golden State.
right.
Quietly.
And to be honest, okay, I work for one insurance company. If that insurance company doesn't value me as an employee, I'm looking around.
Right. You know what?
And
I'm gonna because this
can
is
I say one more
go
thing?
ahead, man. I'm sorry.
Another thing is, in America, when you show that you're an independent thinker, regardless of race, regardless of anything else, when you're white, there's so many positive adjectives that they give.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's an independent thinker. What is the positive adjective when you hear that?
He's he's a maverick. He's an independent thinker. He's a maverick. He's a rebel.
He's a maverick.
He's
He's
a
a
game
visionary.
changer. He's a
He's a
visionary.
game changer. When you're African American, and I've heard this about myself, um, you're a wild card. You're not a team player.
You're a rabble rouser. That's what they used to call
Yeah,
me. You're a rabble rouser.
yeah. You're not a team player. You're not going with the team. You're not.
You're angry, bro.
Yeah,
You're angry.
no,
You
no, no. Hey, you know what? And I think it's because I have a friend that's white that I've known for years, and he goes, bro, you have such. Don't take this the wrong way, nobody. He said he said you're a fairly good looking guy. He said so they won't say, oh, he's angry. They'll say you're too aggressive.
Yeah, see, I get angry. I used to get angry all the time. Why you?
I don't mean no disrespect by that.
Nah, I'm just, bro. Like they would just call me angry all the time. I remember when I worked for the government, man, because my thing was like I didn't like the system because I thought the system of way getting promotions was stupid, and I still think it is. And like, cause I don't want to get into like the non appropriated funds and the regular government job stuff
Right, that's another podcast.
that we
Because
already
we
did
know
that
that you
that
went bulletproof when you start talking about that stuff.
that we already did that we kind of quasi already did, like when we talked about like lesser rooms, cost in the rooms and stuff. Um, but yeah, man, like I used to get the angry tag all the time, and it's just like, nah, what you're doing is stupid, and stop lying to people. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
when you're African
But
American
but
and you live, Boyce Watkins. Let me finish this out. Boyce Watkins talks about this all the time. When you're in corporate, he calls it the corporate plantation. Dr. Boyce Watkins talks about this all the time. When you show anger around white people in the corporate plantation or in the job market, you get labeled as the angry black man real quick because you're supposed to be happy that you got a good job. And what they're talking about with Colin Kaepernick is I heard it yesterday with the what's her name, Tommy Loren, the little blonde chick that works for the Blaze and stuff. Try not to
yeah,
curse. She was saying like she brought up his contract status
and
because white
to
people
be
have this
honest,
thing and some black people too, they have this thing that, you know what I'm saying, because you're making money, that racism isn't real.
bro, and then you know what that's quasi, and nobody wants to call it what it truly is.
Mm-hmm.
Now here's you always say I'm a truth sayer, right?
Yeah,
Slave mentality.
exactly. Which, let me bring up Kevin Durant for a second. And I said the same thing when LeBron did the Miami thing. Let me preface this by saying the the decision, the corporate entity that was the decision
But
was
but
was
hold on.
mm-hmm
Even that was okay. Because you know what that tells you?
mm-hmm
That tells you he has risen to a certain value in America where he understands his worth.
right. And the
Think
fact
about what I'm saying. Now go ahead.
now the way that was handled,
I
I
don't I see I'm a purist.
mm-hmm
I'm a purist. He has the right to do whatever he needs to do as long as he deems it responsible.
right. What I was saying is I get the argument that the decision was kind of
I
lame.
don't get it.
Well,
I don't
well, well. I did. Okay. I mean, like I'm not fighting. I'm not fighting that fight. I'm not gonna get in an argument about the merits of the decision. But I get in an argument with people because people don't understand. Like, you're an independent contractor. I've been saying it for years. Scott Van Pelt said it with the KD situation. When you're a pro athlete, first of all, when you're a pro athlete, you don't get a chance to pick your first job. We all get to pick. We all get to pick our first jobs, bro. Except pro athletes, they get told where to go unless they got a really good agent and they hold out and stuff. And then
or
that
unless
messes
you like the Mannings.
and then that messes
Uh,
up your mark. And then for the most part, that messes up your marketing. The only reason it didn't for Eli is because his dad was a college Hall of Fame quarterback, and his brother's a Hall of Fame quarterback. That's the only reason that didn't mess up his marketing thing. Normally, that messes up your marketing when you
Now,
hold
to
out
be
like
honest,
that.
I'm gonna say what it is,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not gonna like it. You ready?
Go ahead.
White people can do what they want. Black people can do what they can.
There it is. But with the LeBron James thing, everybody was mad and everybody was mad and everybody was
No,
angry
no,
and
let me restate that because I didn't get it over the right way, the way I needed to say it. And I know it's probably a sniper out on my patio, but okay. Um, White people can do what they want. Black people are only supposed to do what they deem is respectable.
hmm
Now,
so LeBron was supposed to stay in Cleveland on a bad team that not really a bad team, but on a team that wasn't going to go anywhere in
now let's
management that
let's bring it let's bring it back to KD because KD.
yeah, but I want to use because I want to tell you how different how like smart people now are thinking now. Because when LeBron did what he did, everybody was mad and everybody was like, "Ugh." And people and I said it when the LeBron thing happened. He's an independent contractor. He can do what he wants. That was a bad job, and he left it. He left it. It was a bad job. The job reconstructed itself. He came back. He won. With the KD situation, he handled it. What a lot of people said, he handled it better because he wrote a little thing in the Players Tribune. It's fine, but that was a bad job for him. Playing in OKC was a bad job for him.
Right, right. And to be honest, this is the only thing that I don't that I disrespect KD for in doing it.
Mm-hmm.
He did not say, I would have said this when I left. Because this is his real issue.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to go back to him to understand it. They let James Harden leave
Mm-hmm.
without his knowledge. This is proven by his Twitter posts day after what's the name signed with Houston.
Right.
Now, look at the landscape of the game today. Conceivably, OKC could have kept Harden, Serge Ibaka.
They should have kept Harden. Keep going.
Right. They could have kept Harden, Serge Ibaka, Kevin Durant, and Russell Westbrook.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they had kept Harden, they would have had 2 more championships. They would have won 2 championships over this time.
Yes. Most people that know anything about basketball agree with you.
You know what is really weird? Now, and I'm really trying to get my friends, my family to understand the cult of personality. Because, I'm not trying to make it about me, but I want to have an example that people can understand.
Personal narrative is a part of this. Do what you do.
Okay. Chris,
Mm-hmm.
before you met me, like as you were meeting me,
Mm-hmm.
what would you hear about me as a person?
Before I met you?
Before you met me. Because we have a mutual friend that's our friend. But he had certain views about me as a person.
That you have a loud mouth, that you're disrespectful to women.
And okay, now, I'm also one person would tell you, oh, he's disingenuous. You can't really trust him, right?
Right.
Because of a financial situation that wasn't totally explained.
Right.
Now,
Yeah,
That
yeah, that situation too, like that we know of, that me and you
okay,
know of with that person. Yeah, what you said was also right. That
okay.
was
Now fast forward to how you know me now.
most genuine dude I know. One of the most genuine dudes I know, and that was
Just,
proven
just
when I came down here, and I was in a financial situation, and I came to visit you, and you opened up your house to me.
I tried to make it to where you could stay with me for as long as I could, but there was a situation with me personally where the person that was staying with me, I didn't feel like they would be comfortable. But
Exactly.
if if I could have, you would have stayed with me for a time. That way, you wouldn't have had to deal with some family issues that I think are festering and coming to a head right now.
Well,
So,
yeah, we'll get off of that part.
right, we'll get off of that right now, but it's a lot of marketing that goes into certain situations
Hmm.
where people that don't even know you can just say, "Oh," to this another person, and they go with that.
Hmm.
And all I'm saying is, people have marketed so much stuff as this is the way to go. This is what we need to do, and it's not based in facts. It's based in oh, I on a job recently where I wasn't working with you, Christian.
Hmm.
They would say, "Well, man, you come into work too happy. You come into work, man, and you just be bouncing off the walls."
Bro,
And
can I just say something? Cause that what used to get me was like, cause you have, cause see a lot of people. Cause I wanna bring this up. A lot of people in corporate America, because this is a corporate America dynamic, which I don't like. A lot of people in corporate America, because you spend 8 to 12 hours dedicated to a job, whether it's commuting and then your 8 hour shift. Like a lot of people want the job that you have to be your life.
it's
And
not.
if they're miserable, and if people are miserable about their job, then they they put that on you. Or in my situation, if you have other passions in life, like I'll sit and talk, like me and you will sit and talk basketball for hours. I'll sit and talk football, which is going to be a football and basketball like stuff. It's going to be a part of this channel. Okay, like I would come into work. I'm a graphic designer. I'm an artist. I did bare bones graphic design work at this job, right? But we would always talk sports. I would always talk sports with my friends at the job. So people would bring it to my attention because I had other things. You're not dedicated to the job, or
Wow, which
yeah,
is totally
hmm,
ludicrous.
yeah, you're not dedicated to the job. You're not dedicated to your craft. It's like not. And my thing was,
And that gets to another podcast
yeah,
that I'm working on, a special one, where we're supposed to be 3/5 of a human.
hmm,
Either you take my heart away or you take my penis on the job.
hmm,
So that means, or you try to take both.
yeah,
I can't say nothing to you, and I'll be damned. Hey man, you might as well step out and shoot yourself, as opposed, like say for instance, I hate to bring this up, but you know I'm a charming dude. Okay, let's just say
he just said he's attractive and he's charming in the same thing.
okay. So I'm a charming dude. So that means if you put me in a people situation, my natural charisma is gonna take over.
Hmm.
I can't control it. It's the reason why the person interviewed me and hired me.
Right,
Let's go.
right.
Okay. But women can flirt with you, give you bad on the job,
shoulder rubs, and then it makes you feel
shoulder
real
rubs, back
uncomfortable
rubs.
because they don't understand. Because they don't
Mhm.
understand that you're not paralyzed, and that feels good. And it's
Well,
like, get
no,
off
not
me, man.
even that. Not even that. It was this lady at Extend Health, and she would just come up and be like, "Oh, you smell so nice." Oh, you smell so nice. Oh, I would love to take you home. What do you say to that first
No,
on the job?
nothing. You gotta
Nothing.
You gotta catch her. You,
Okay, I have had women in the elevator say, I just wanna jump in your lap.
I've had, man.
Okay, now listen.
That's standard. That's
I'd be
standard
like,
for,
sweetheart.
huh?
I'd be like, sweetheart, the camera's right there.
Right, dude.
Right there. And it's so hard for a genuine person to function in American society. I've had women tell me, "You smell so good. I just want to lick your chest for like 15 minutes."
What?
Like I want to sit in your lap and lick your chest for 15 minutes.
Now, can I? Because there's a larger
Okay.
point here that we're not getting to yet because of the examples.
Okay.
The dynamic between now, because there's a point that you're trying to get to that I'm just gonna say.
I'm just saying.
Oh,
There's no recourse for you being a genuine person, and there's really no protection if you're different in certain systems in America.
you can't. Here's a like what you're talking about is the double standard of because
Yes,
we
yes.
can't because as a man we can't say things that women say to us corporately. We can't. We're not
Right.
allowed. They will.
And
We.
here's my thing. Here's my thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you want gun control for a while, take guns out of the society and see what the change is. Take the guns out of everybody's hands and say, okay, nobody has a gun now. How we gonna function? Or let me give you another example. I was watching a YouTube video of Snoop, and I used to think Snoop was kind of, he's an okay rapper, but as a person, I used to think he was corny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now let me explain. They asked Snoop about, I guess it's an answer or a protest to the racial unrest in America right now.
Mm-hmm.
The game and Snoop basically had a protest in L.A.
Yeah.
And it was spearheaded by the rapper The Game.
Mm-hmm.
And which I think is an okay rapper, but he's kind of a little bit too sensitive for me. But anyway, that's another podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And Snoop basically said that it was The Game, and Game is considerably younger than Snoop. And Snoop said, I'm just gonna I'm gonna see what the young boy do, and we're gonna work our way out from there.
Mm-hmm.
But he wants to. I just wanted to let him know that as us both being black men, no matter what set we claim, we support each other. So, Game basically said, this is what I want to do. He said, I want to go to City Hall, and I want to sit down and speak to the mayor, the police chief, and the head of the sheriff's department. Interesting thing came out of that.
Mm-hmm.
The sheriff's department mandatorily in LA are required to spend 9 months of training where they just go into the jails and talk to inmates.
Mm-hmm.
The police department are not. And Stu brought up an interesting point. How many times have you heard of the sheriff's department having problems in the community
Yeah.
in LA? He
Yeah.
said you. He said you hear minor things. He said, but you know what I think the difference is. Now this is very intuitive on his part.
Mm-hmm.
He said because they have a connection to the
With the
community,
community.
right? And he said whereas the policemen come out of training and they don't.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, they have time where they go in and they actually meet with people and, talk to people like they're regular people. And he said, you know what? It's crazy. He said, I've been stopped by police and they go, white policemen. And he said, it may be weed around. And he said, this in cities where weed is not legal.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing they'll say is, Snoop, what's up, man? Because they know me.
Right.
And he said, you'd be surprised. He said it's like the equivalent of a girl getting out of a speeding ticket by showing a dude her titties.
Right. Well, there's famous. He's famous, and then I
What?
guarantee you, there's gonna be dudes. Can I get a picture? This shit is awesome.
Right. And he was like, bro, if me taking a picture will extinguish any situation.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I might take a picture with a Klansman if it'll keep somebody from getting killed. That's the Libra thing in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I bet if that was to happen, Snoop would be all types of Uncle Toms and all types of shit.
But he said it's a bigger picture to it. I don't want nobody to get killed, and I want people to understand we really all
Well,
people.
I think that because I remember the time frame that all this was happening. It was after the Dallas situation, and I want to bring it back for a second when it comes to like the disability aspect of it when you're dealing with mental issues. Because again, bipolar and syndrome also uh, post traumatic stress syndrome or disorder. They fall under the ADA. That young brother and the Louisiana, because we gonna do both of them. I'm gonna do both of them in one walk. Like you're coming from, and I'm gonna bring back I'm gonna add the military thing because this is something that people don't understand. Like we're talking about Colin Kaepernick, you know what I'm saying, and doing his protests, and then we have veterans, white veterans, popping up and saying these things, and we have all this white privilege running around. Like you remember, you people forget the situation that happened in Dallas a few months back. That brother was a veteran. The
Right,
the brother the brother that shot those two cops in Louisiana in Baton Rouge. That brother was a veteran.
right,
Let's talk about before we have veterans come up and before we have veterans talk about how great this military is and how great this country is to the veterans and all this stuff. Can we talk about the veterans that snapped and didn't really get any help and was
right.
going through issues, and
But
when they had a mental breakdown, you have trained killers that had a breakdown for whatever reason and shot people.
right,
I'm not condoning what happened I hated what happened here. I'm from Chicago, but Dallas is my second home. I've been here for almost 20 years now. I hated what happened here. It hurt me. And I know that area well. And if situations were different, I would have been in that protest. That hurt, dude, a lot. But I was very quiet on it because I didn't really know what to say about it. But when you do research on the two brothers that did the one in Louisiana and the one in Dallas, when you do research on these young men, there were signs that something was happening, and they were veterans, and nobody looked out for them. And we have, and especially in communities of color, we have a very very weird dynamic when it comes to like mental disorders and mental illness. And then when something bad happens, then it's like, oh crap. And we can do with the Corinne Steffens thing. When something bad happens, oh crap. Then we want to retroactively say, well, this was happening. Well, you could have had these people talk to some people before craziness happens and before bad things happen. So we're talking about Colin. Everybody's mad about Colin
And
Kaepernick.
if you look at it,
Mm-hmm.
look in the media. One of my college professors did a study of how minorities are portrayed and how white people are portrayed in the media.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you know that doctor that shot up the military base, Fort Hood, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he needs help.
Because they arrested him, right?
Yeah, he needs help. He was stressed because he was a doctor and he snapped. And they basically usurped all his natural affiliations, right?
Right.
Because he was a Middle Eastern guy,
Mm-hmm.
and said he needed help. What we need to stop doing, we need to reset the value. Everybody is valued at the same level.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody gets a pass.
Mm-hmm.
And then America will be better.
You're seeing Colin Kaepernick saying, "I'm tired," and I'm tired of saying what I'm saying, and this is my protest. You saw two veterans a few months ago say, "I'm tired,"
Yeah.
and both of them who are military trained killers, like snipers. They're paid by the government to do that.
And
They grew
you
tired
can't
as
really get upset. Let me tell you something my grandmother used to tell us. You can't get upset when a dog that you trained
turns on you.
snaps and bites you in the ass.
Right.
Because that's what he's trained to do.
Right. And we're not talking about that. We're not talking about the people because people protest and because to be quite honest, is as jacked up as that was, he got tired, and there's when a clinically down person who is trained to kill snaps because he didn't get help, because he's seen people that look like him getting killed over nonsense, and it's televised. Because
Right.
let me just bring this up
And
real. Let
and
me
then let's break this all the way down. Hey man, this really needs to be a two-parter because I have so much left, but I don't have the battery life or the time to do it right
No,
now.
we can, bro. We can do a two parter because I actually have to go too. But I wanted to say a couple things before we wrap this up, and I wanted to tie it in a bow. Um, like you know what I'm saying? Like we talk, veterans are going up and they're popping off at the mouth on Facebook, and everybody's saying these little comments. But people are tired, man, and you know what I'm
And
saying
to
when.
be honest, I'm gonna say this. I gotta find out that doctor's name because I actually want to read his study. It's from some years back, but it'll still be good. It'll still be pertinent with what we have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, bro. Why is it all the black stuff or minority stuff is televised? And I'm gonna break it down even deeper than that. And then after this, we got to do the closeout. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you look at it, how many times Mexicans getting into a situation with the police? How many times is there video footage of it where you see it?
How many times what? Because I wanted to bring this up because people say statistically white people get killed more than the cops do than we do. I got to look that up. I'm not going to dispute that. But perception is 9/10 reality, and it's what happens is everybody's getting killed.
Hey, you used the wrong word. I want to correct you on that.
Mm-hmm.
You're not disputing it, but you want to prove it. You want to find statistical data that backs that up.
Yeah, because quite honestly, statistics can
because I dispute that every day.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at it, how many minorities are arrested? Arrested. Now I got a couple buddies that are pale face that I love like my brothers.
I know one of them personally.
Okay, I know for a fact he's been going through some issues, and he's only been arrested once.
Mm-hmm.
He's been calling the police
mm-hmm.
to his location.
Mm-hmm.
He's only been arrested once. And I love him. But he even admits something's wrong.
Something's different. Something's wrong.
Like you said. Bro, and he said, bro, if it had been you, he said, if it had been you, I would have prayed for your safety.
There's the statistics because people always say, and to be quite honest, like another minority that we don't talk about, Native Americans are getting clipped more so than us, than black people. They say, more white people have died in police encounters. Again, and I think you brought up the perfect term. I want to prove that's true. But see, here's the thing. None of that stuff's being televised. None of that,
right.
You're not seeing white people get choked out to death.
All that is, okay, now we got to close it out on this point.
Mm-hmm.
All that is, it's done for a reason. So white people get perception of us. So black people get perception of themselves. And so people will be able to build animosity towards situations without really knowing the background.
Yeah. So
it's a lot more to it.
Yeah. So I just want to say, to close, Colin Kaepernick, the brother in Dallas, the brother in the brother in Louisiana, and a lot of brothers that are tired, and a lot of brothers that are protesting the Black Lives Matter movement, and all that's happening. All this is happening because we are seeing people that are sworn to protect us not protecting us. And I don't care I care what the statistics say, but what I'm seeing is one thing than what I got to look up for. I got to look up the stats. What I'm seeing is what I'm seeing. So if Colin Kaepernick or whatever else or whoever else has a thought or has a protest, or if somebody that's imbalanced or unbalanced and he doesn't have help, if that's what he's seen and that's a trigger point, that's a problem. And we need to figure out how to solve that problem. And I don't necessarily know what his protest is gonna do, but maybe it'll get people to understand that the perception of law enforcement in this country as it pertains to minorities is a negative. And we're looking at it. I'm not seeing white people get choked out. I'm not seeing white people get shot. I'm seeing my brothers get shot. And whatever we do as a show of solidarity, minus violence. Like, I don't like the idea you shooting innocent cops on a protest. I don't like that.
Right, we're not condoning that.
But whatever you have to, I want white people to understand perception of y'all and perception of y'all in law enforcement is a different thing. And understand the situation.
Right. And there's been times where I've come to my home and the police are outside my house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they want to get in on another policeman's word, the courtesy officer that used to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And they would be like, well, we were called out because we heard that somebody in your residence sold drugs.
Right.
Really? And so, you know, one, we're dealing with several dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
How is it a courtesy officer can just call two other policemen out on his word?
Off of a hunch.
Off of a hunch.
Right.
Okay. Two, I'm a disabled person, and I said, say, this is where I live. No, get back, sir. We need you to get back. This is somebody that stays in that residence sells drugs. I said, well, look, it's my house. My name is on the lease. I have a right to get into my residence without being impeded by y'all.
Mm-hmm.
So the two cops, and neither one of them are African American, they go back and they speak to each other. He used impeded, so he's pretty smart. We better let him get into his house.
Get in his apartment.
And so I go into my house. I say, get away from the doorstep. You don't have just cause, and I'm not letting you in.
Right.
Okay. So I come into my house. I speak to my two nephews. And you know I'm cool as a cucumber, so I say, stop with it.
Right.
Oh, man, the courtesy officer just got mad because we were standing outside, and he told us to go in, and my older nephew said, last time I checked, I'm a grown dude, and I'm standing out in the parking lot waiting for my uncle to come home.
Mm-hmm.
And so the courtesy officer got mad, and he calls the police. Now, this is what I told the two young cops when I stepped back out. I said, man, we live in a real society, right? You got to show me some real cause before you get in my house. So you got to come with a warrant, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, let's break it all the way down. You have power in this situation. Just because that bastard is standing over there free, because they all stay in apartments free,
Mm-hmm.
no police presence.
Mm-hmm.
And he just gets a wild hair up in his butt to say somebody did something. That doesn't give you cause to come and harass me at my home. And I remember one of the cops, as he was walking away, he goes, you know what? What you going to school for? I said, real estate. He said, man, you need to be a lawyer.
There it is. But
I said, man, I don't have 8 years to give to that, and I think that's a bullshit game too, but that's another story.
Well, I think our personalities, because I've been told that as well, but I think what we're doing, I think this is important, and I think the advocacy aspect of our mindsets is just as important. Like, but being an advocate isn't prestigious. Being a lawyer is, but I think it's just as important.
I think being an advocate is prestigious. It's all man you
No, it is, But to people, being an advocate isn't prestigious. Being a lawyer is though, and being a lawyer, you can get.
But the solution that I told them is, man, you need to come true power.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to use that gun. You can admit, like, hey, what are you doing standing out here? Or we got reports. But here's the thing that was also unnerving.
Mm-hmm.
How did you know where they stayed?
They just saw
They
what.
were being profiled the whole time they were here.
Yeah. Which I've told my last residence that I was at before I moved in this place. I had a I had a family friend that I had a family friend that was trying to move down, or well, family member. He was his cousin. He was trying to move down here, and he wanted to stay with me. And I was like, no, because, and this isn't a negative, but in neighborhoods, if you stay in a place long enough, or even if you stay in a place in a short time, but they know you, like if you're the only dude in a wheelchair, everybody knows you, right? The management know you, the courtesy person knows you, the maintenance people know you, they know you, right? So I was like, no, I'm not. I don't really want so and so. I don't really want anybody to stay with me because not because I don't have a good heart or anything, but because when you start getting a lot of people, a lot of foot traffic, like we had a really really active courtesy officer that really like was on his job and was especially on his job in regards to me. And I was just like, nah, I don't want any issues or anything because we got a really, really, you know, energetic courtesy officer, man. And and when you told me a courtesy officer started this whole situation, I was like, yep, okay, I get it because they do that.
Right.
They do that. They start stuff. Not sometimes not always negative. It's just that they're
And
paid
to
to.
be honest, if police would exhibit soft skills, do you know how many people I met? And it was a situation up at Barnes and Noble where this white lady was saying that I was disrespecting her. And I really wasn't. I was just telling her to do her job.
Hmm.
She called the
But
police on me.
but again, you're a black gimp. You can't show anger.
Right, yeah, yeah. She called the police on me. And bro, if one cop hadn't been called to the scene that knew me, he said, "Hey, bro," and he said, he told the chick this. He said, "This guy is my personal friend," and he said, "I take umbrage at how you're treating my friend, saying he said this stuff that I already know he didn't say."
Hmm.
Just to build that narrative. Oh, I'm a white victim female, and he did something wrong to me. He said something wrong to me, right?
Hmm.
And he said, I had to take you to jail for slander.
Right.
And as soon as he said that, she straightened up. So what I'm trying to say is, we need to stop being manipulated by the media of how much they show incidences of all types and be more balanced.
Right.
And all I'm saying to you is this: we can make changes, but we have to value each other first. We have to value each other. I've been in numerous situations, not just public, but personal situations where individuals do not value me as a person.
Same here.
So that's where it has to start. And you know, when we started to push 101, I said, man, we would talk about the issues, but we would also give you solutions.
Hmm.
So that's my solution. We need to value each other more. And I value the police when they do their job. Now, what makes me devalue them in a certain way is when they use their power for what they feel is important.
I think going back to the original point of or the original topic of Colin Kaepernick, I think I'm just going to reinforce what I said earlier.
Yeah.
Perception is the saying perception is 9/10 reality is true. Like I
Right.
mean, it is. So for white America to not understand that this is a problem, and for white America to not understand that we're seeing. Now, you can say that the media is doing whatever they do, but it's a problem. So understand the problem. So understand that there are people that don't really know what to do here as far as we keep seeing these things happening. We keep hearing stories and we don't know what to do here. And stop being fake outraged because we're going through a real problem and we're trying to figure out ways to protest the problem and to show anger and to show sadness and to show we're fed up. You know what I'm saying? And I wish what I want for people to understand is not only understanding but empathy. I want you to empathize with plights that are happening. So that's my solution, about the situation. I applaud this young brother for protesting in the only way he knows how. I hope they don't cut him, but they're gonna use this as an excuse because he really hasn't had a good season, and they're gonna use this as an excuse to do something that instead of just saying he's not a good quarterback for us, they're gonna
He's
use
not
this as a
healthy right now.
huh.
He's not healthy right now.
I understand, but they're gonna use that as an excuse to cut him.
Right.
So, and then I hope he doesn't get blackballed because he's taking the stance. Because if they cut him, he should have an opportunity to get a job. And I
Because
hope
3 years ago, he was the cat's meow.
exactly.
He was the next prototype quarterback.
Oh, he was the future. He was the guy that everybody was going to try to find.
But there will be a part 2 to this.
Because both of us
This
got to go.
this is the push 101. He is pushing while black. I'm Anthony Joslin.
I'm Christian Dean.
2 fingers.
Doses.
I'm in the wind.